take a look at this. This will be our final season 1 tier list for Street Fighter 6 before Akuma drops. I really want to do this because I want a nice baseline to compare this tier list to our future ones. So this is exciting. So keep in mind, this is after the minor patch, after Capcom Cup, and we've even had some big preseason tournaments to go by for information like Red Bull Kumite and Evil Japan, of course. So let's get things started. Super exciting. All right, guess who's in Luke tier, guys? That's right, Beast Mode, baby. I think Luke deserves to be in his own tier at the very end, guys. I'm sorry, the Ken Bros have won. Finally, I will kneel and admit that Luke is just too crazy. His damage is off the charts. His buttons are insane. You can't stop this character from jumping in on you. He's got hammer, mountain, jumping heavy punch, jumping heavy kick. His crouching heavy punch, it's GP's old crouching heavy punch. And this character's got a DP on top of it. His defense and offense are on another level. He has pretty much no weaknesses. He's just like the ultimate perfect Shoto. And Capcom has created a Frankenstein monster. This character is just so stable, so popular, and such a great pick for tournament play, and that's why we see Luke the most out of like everyone. Pick percentages is just so crazy, and there are some amazing players that play Luke, such as Chris Wong and Menardi, proven to us that Luke is just too crazy. Even after the minor nerfs, Luke's crouching beam punch is just on another planet, man. That button is +5 on drive rush. It whip punishes everything. The conversions are nuts. Everything you guys have heard about Luke can't be said enough, man. The big thing about Luke as a Shoto is just his damage output and his utility and his defense, offense, everything is just off the charts with this character. Luke is just insane. Yeah, he's just so stable. He just doesn't have to worry about any bad matchups. And the thing is too, is like, I'm not saying Luke has like crazy 7-3 matchups, you know, or 8-2s, but they're all usually either in his favor or it's even, and he's just capable of beating any character. Like, he's just the ultimate sweaty esports tournament pick. He does have some very tiny faults, like he doesn't have fireball drive rush and he's very meter dependent, but it's just everything about his kit just overcomes that. Even when he gets put in burnout, he's actually pretty stable in burnout, and once he gets that 6 bars back, man, it's over. He really does have everything. Almost no weaknesses. Okay, so let's talk about the toppest of tiers as well. I guess I'm just gonna be kind of going all over the place. I'll just be throwing characters in here, and then there's some characters where I need your guys' help and opinions on, and we'll kind of narrow it down together. But I think Chun-Li is easily at the very top here as well. Chun-Li is just so versatile. She does high damage output as well. Her level 2 super is so strong. It gives her everything. It's really easy for her to get into her level 2. It does the corner carry for you, and she gets all of her meter back, and she gets setups after. It's like perfect. Her buttons are really good. Her movement speed is off the charts, man. Fireball drive rush, low forward cancelable, anti-air damage is quite high as well. Characters like I would put at the very top have very tiny faults, like Luke does. Like Chun-Li, she's got a floaty jump, and her anti-airs can be baited in some ways if she goes for the 10 shell kicks. But other than that, Chun-Li is like near perfect. Chun-Li has been on our radar since the game first came out. We saw the potential of her. She's not an easy character to use, but at the highest level, seeing Chun-Li like Lashar or Moke, this character is the toppest of the top. Japan considers her top 5 as well. She's just really strong. I think Chun-Li is like an absolute no-brainer character to put up here. Let's throw Dee Jay up here too. I still think Dee Jay is at the very top. The minor nerfs to Dee Jay pretty much buffed him in his burnout sequences because the sway kick +1. Dee Jay's another thing, right? You'll notice the characters at the top here, their damage output is just through the roof. You know, it's not just the drive rush. I know that the drive rush is like the no-brainer because he's got the fastest drive rush in the game, and it's just super scary, super strong. And Dee Jay has a lot of plus buttons, but it's the OD fireball. That is what makes Dee Jay so scary. It's so powerful against other zoners. It's easily confirmable because his drive rush speed is so fast that if someone gets hit by the OD fireball, just drive rush, you know, and then it does such massive damage. You're like, where did my life bar go? If you press throw against Dee Jay and you guess wrong, you're dead. And once again, Dee Jay has some very tiny faults, like his level 1 is not the best, especially when it's in burnout. He doesn't have a cancelable low forward, not too many cancel buttons in general, but he is so unique with his dry rush and OD fireball that it just overcomes it. And of course his sway, it works so well with the system of the game. I think Dee Jay is still performing very good throughout the entire year. So yeah, Dee Jay definitely needs to be at the top. All right, let's mix it up here. I'm thinking which character to talk about next. You know which character we should talk about? JP. There's been a lot of talk about JP throughout the entire year. This character is like a roller coaster. At the beginning of the year, I fell for the downplay, and I'm like, man, JP's got some faults. And then after seeing Kakeru just terrorize everyone, I'm like, no, this character is insane. And once his level 2 and everything got more optimal, it's really, really crazy. JP got many, many nerfs. They went after a lot of his damage scaling. They went after amnesia, but he still maintains his zoning. He still, when he hits you, he pushes you full screen. He's still JP. The amnesia is still one of the craziest reversals, just because he can turn the tables on you so hard. So the real question is that everyone wants to talk about is his crouching heavy punch, right? Did it hurt him? Of course it did. Especially in an aggressive game like Street Fighter 6, it definitely did. JP players are second guessing themselves on it, and sometimes JP players have to block or the parry, and I think that's what knocked JP down a bit from being at the, top like he was for most season. But I still think he's really, really good. We've seen recently with Kakeru, second place at Evil Japan, VX Guile using JP. The toppest of the top JPs, like the best of the best, are still performing very, very well. We're just not seeing, 7, 8 JPs in top 8 anymore. I think Capcom did it in a way where it didn't destroy the character. The high skill JPs are still going to do very well. It's just that his crouching heavy punch was like broken before. It had no hurt. It had invincibility against air attacks. It was like, for a character to have zoning this good, but also have defense that good, it's just nuts. But JP is still in the right hands. JP is still at the top, man. I'm not putting JP in mid or lower. There's just no way. Let's put one in mid. This is a character that I've been playing for a while now, ever since he came out. I'm gonna throw Ed dead in the center in mid. I don't think many players consider Ed to be top tier, but I've seen many players consider him low tier. But after playing Ed for a long time, I think Ed is like right in the center. I think in the right hands, if this character is played perfectly, he can be quite strong. His snatcher is one of the most powerful moves in the game. It's like an almost full screen hit grab that pulls towards you like a scorpion hook and leaves them +4 even if they block. And it's a projectile, so it beats level 1 and it beats other characters' fireballs if they're sleeping. You have to respect that move, the medium snatcher. But at the same time, it has clear counters, which is jump and drive impact, and that is accessible to every single character in the game. So Ed is just a character that he's always in danger because he has to play closer within that range where he's using flicker constantly, and he has to be very evasive and be on point. His anti-air is very slow. Standing heavy kick, you need to stand in a specific range, and light uppercut is 10 frames. So you have to be really on point when you're anti-airing with Ed, and you're going to be getting jumped on a lot with this character because that's one of his big counters, his jumps. So if you're an Ed player who's like super solid and fundamentally strong, Ed can be very scary. His light punch pressure is underrated, and he's got excellent Oki and a really good corner game. Momochi has shown us what happens when a really good player gets his hands on him, and Any Walker is doing amazing with Ed as well. The character has completely changed from Street Fighter 5, but I think Capcom did an amazing job with Ed. He's very unique. It feels like he's playing a different game, and it took me a very long time to understand this character, but now that I'm seeing like how he plays and how he deals with other characters, I think Ed is super cool. But I don't think he's super weak, and I don't think he's super strong. I think he's somewhere in the middle, and he's the kind of character where the player has to carry him. Ed won't do anything for you. I don't think this character has any crutches at all, and I'm happy that he's in the middle. That's a sign of good character design for a new character, that they end up in the middle. It's hard to do. All right, let's throw someone in the low. I'm gonna throw Dhalsim in here. Okay, Dhalsim. Let me explain before everyone like brings out their pitchforks and torches. Look, man, I've heard it all year, guys. Dhalsim is being slept on. Dhalsim's he's underrated. Dhalsim's really good. You know, I'm always hearing it, guys. Dhalsim beat 76 Zangiefs in ranked and all that. But every single time, guys, I see Dhalsim in a tournament, I turn my eyes to look at the chat, and when my eyes go back to the screen, he's dead. Every single time, and I see 2 double perfects. Dhalsim always gets blown up. The fastest matches of the year are all against Dhalsim. So what's happening? I know there's amazing Dhalsim players out there, guys, but when it comes to like tournament results, this character is always getting bopped in spectacular fashion. If you look at him on paper, he is really strong. Like, he's a good zoner, but when it comes to the system mechanics of the game, I don't think Dhalsim uses as well as obviously the top tiers do. Drive Rush works more against Dhalsim than with him. Parry works more against him, I think, than with him, you know? And Dhalsim not having, you know, a true reversal also hurts him. You're gonna notice this too, that a lot of characters I'm gonna put down here don't have reversals. Yeah, we'll see where Dhalsim lands when they add drive reversal as a wake-up option in season 2. Dhalsim can definitely go up. It's just been proven so many times that Dhalsim is just not ready yet in the current meta. He needs a little umph. But yeah, there's a mate, dude. I got a lot of crazy Dhalsim players in my region that I played. He can definitely destroy it, but in the highest level of play, Dhalsim has to work too hard. I consider him less stable than a character like Ed overall. The bottom, guys. Who are we putting at the very bottom? Let's do an easy one. Honda is just a complete mess of a character right now. He's a character that absolutely destroys low rank players and gets mauled in high level play. He's pretty much unplayable in high level play because his entire game plan is so linear, so one trick pony with headbutt and butt slam, and the universal mechanic of the game counters it so well. Perfect parry. And Honda just has nothing to work with. When you watch high level Honda players, they're not even charging half the time, guys. They're walking back and forth. And what does that mean? What's the point of playing Honda if you're not charging? You know what I'm saying? I'll give it up to some Honda players though. They did blow up some big pros this year. And some of the funniest matches were against Honda. Moke, I'm looking at you. And Uma, but that was off stream. But yeah, man, Honda is just so unstable, dude. He's got so many bad matchups. It's like through the roof. It's not just a problem with the character having so many weaknesses. Design wise, I just think Honda is a complete mess. But now that we've had a sneak peek at the buffs that Honda's getting and the way they're changing him up for season 2, it's a really good sign because I was really scratching my head over how is Capcom gonna fix this character. So if you're not Honda players, I just think Capcom had a lot of problems figuring out how to design him in Street Fighter 6 because we're talking about a game that has a parry mechanic. So how are they going to make headbutt and butt slam strong with a parry mechanic? And I think Capcom went a little too overboard and tunnel vision on those moves, and 100 hand slap not being a piano input, so they couldn't make it a pressure move anymore. They had to make it minus. I just think Capcom just need a little bit more time to figure out how to make this character work in this game. And now I think looking forward to season 2, I'm pretty sure Honda will be fine in the future, guys. I didn't see this one coming, and honestly, if I had a time machine and contacted myself and told me I'm gonna put this character here, I wouldn't believe myself. Here it goes. I'm just gonna put this character here and I'm just gonna see what the chat says. Let me gauge your guys' reaction. Just want to see. I'm gonna check the temperature here. Wait, you guys are all saying yes? Come on, you're supposed to say no for YouTube. No, guys, no. You're supposed to say Vesper, you're crazy. You're out of your mind. Okay, the fact that you guys are happy with this is good. That means I'm not crazy. Blanka traditionally has just been a really tricky, kind of gimmicky character that has to take a lot of high risk to do his thing. A lot of his moves are like punishable, and if you see it coming, he's in trouble. But Street Fighter 6, that's like, no, Blanka's done with that anymore. This character is actually fundamentally really strong. His buttons are really good, his anti-airs are really good, and his utility is off the charts now. This is like Super Saiyan Blanka. Blanka hasn't been this crazy since like Capcom versus SNK 2, and that's only because of an insane exploit with roll canceling. His anti-air damage is crazy with standing heavy kick. His drive rushing is really good. He's got a cancelable low forward, drive rush heavy kick. Crouching medium punch is an insane button. Seen it in play, it's so good at dealing with other characters with drive rush. He uniquely doesn't have to deal with some strong meta in this game like fireball drive rush because he has his slide and his level 2. His level 2 is so strong, it doesn't doesn't matter if it hits or doesn't, it causes so much presence. And if he does land his level 2 on you, doesn't matter where you are on the screen, he'll put you in the corner and you have to hold a setup. His setup is nuts. If Blanka guesses right on his setup, it could be the end of the match. And even if you block it, he's still in a very good position, gaining meter. Blanka, I don't know, man. I don't know how we got here. I don't know how he snuck up the tiers, but seeing MenRD playing Blanka has shown us time and time again where enough is enough. We have to put him at the top. He's crazy. I'd even mention, dude, his defensive options, you gotta worry about a reversal and a dive kick. He's so good dealing with the game's meta, fireball, drive rush, and throw loops. And his damage is through the charts. Like, he doesn't need to play the whole walk back and just do random Blanka balls anymore. He can go toe to toe. He's so strong now. After seeing MenRD just 5-0 some of the top players in the world with this character, I'm just like, no, man. It has something to do with the character too. It can't just be the 2-time, you know? We can't downplay him anymore. Every single day, I am seeing new setups in tech with his level 2. It is just endless. I'm gonna throw Marisa in mid. I think this is another safe bet as well. Marisa is a character that has many faults, actually, with her reversal where she's got to use Scudum instead. But Marisa is still relevant just because of her sheer damage output. Highest damage output in the game still. But she has definitely fallen off. She was super popular at the beginning of the year tournament-wise. And we still see Marisa, but just not as much anymore. Fireball, Drive Rush, and understanding how Marisa works. I think mid's a good spot for her. Marisa in the right hands is still really, really good. Her buttons are really good, and like I said, her pressure is very scary. Good safe jumps. Her level 3 can end the round. It could be checkmate. If you hit someone with a level 3 and they're in burnout or near burnout, it's checkmate. And she's never out because of her insane comeback factor. She does get mauled herself pressure wise because she has no reversal. You dry rush in on her, she doesn't have many tools except for going for like an OD Scudum. She's the kind of character that can get destroyed fast as well. Her anti-airs are slightly unstable. It's not the worst because you can use Gladius as an anti-air, but it's not as flexible as some of the top tier characters as well. So she has some problems in the defense department. Marisa just doesn't have the crazy utility that some of the characters above her have too. Her damage outweighs her utility. Yeah, I think she's just in a good spot, which is nice. You know, we want characters in the middle. Marisa is also interesting because we've seen players experiment with modern controls and classic with her too, and we've seen success for both. One of the only characters that we've seen throughout the year with that. She's a great beginner character as well, but that can still be used in high level play, which is better character design than like Honda, you know? Let's throw someone else in the low here. I'm gonna put Kimberly in low tier. I don't think Kimberly is at the bottom. Kimberly is strange because she's a character that what Blanka should have been, in the sense that she has a lot of gimmicky, tricky moves. But once you understand how they work, her fake run cancels, the forward heavy kick hop, the way her teleport works, basically in the highest level of play, Kimberly loses over half her moveset, realistically. And I'm seeing like pro Kimberly players. There's a lot of fantastic Kimberly players in Japan, but when you see them play, she doesn't do the good old like walk full screen, walk back and forth into random teleport or random slide. You see a lot of Kimberly players do. They play close and they try to use her buttons, but I like seeing how much of her kit that she's missing that she can't even use. Yeah, she's low. She also has problems with her supers until like they buff her level 2. She's basically forced to do her level 3. The level 1, she loses her can. Like there's some problems with Kimberly. And then ever since she lost her reversal, her defensive options are really weak. You'll get mauled by Kimberly, but at any moment when Kimberly's like throw looping you, her corner pressure is amazing, but her damage output is just so low. It's so low, guys, you know? At any point, if she guesses wrong and the opponent perfect parries her and side switches her or backdashes or pretty much just guesses right and she gets put in the corner, Kimberly's just dead. She's just the kind of character that just runs out of steam. In the right hands, we've seen amazing Kimberly players, but you can tell that she definitely has some big faults that I am reluctant to put her in mid. Kimberly is also kind of a dark horse as well, where she does uniquely beat some matchups that you wouldn't think she does. Like she was terrorizing JP, especially Kakeru. throughout the year. Kimberly's the kind of character that if they buff her slightly, she'll definitely go up because she does have a lot of utilities. Just a lot of it is just kind of easily countered in fake right now. Capcom just needs to tweak it a bit. This one, I think you guys might disagree with me, but I'm still gonna put him at the bottom. I'm gonna put Jamie still at the bottom here. Jamie got some good buffs. Like the drink buffs, the forward throw, fantastic. And the direction that Jamie is going looks really, really good. But Jamie, just by design, he's just the only character in the game that doesn't have access to his entire moveset. And it just depends on how the match flows, whether he gets it or not. It's just too big of a weakness. And once again, he has the same issue with damage output that Kimberly does. Jamie can get a good momentum and get that second drink right away. And then he can play decently where I would put him somewhere like in the mid and low once he has 2 drinks, but that's not always gonna happen, man. Like if the round starts off rough for Jamie, let's say he gets put in the corner right away, like when you're Jamie and you have 0 drinks and you're in the corner, to make a comeback that round is so difficult, it's insane. His back throw doesn't give him a drink, it's only his forward throw. Let's say you get out of the corner with whatever life you have left, then you still need to get your first and second drink. It is just too much of a swing. You have to make too hard of a comeback, and you need to do that struggles every single round, you know? That doesn't mean I think Jamie's gonna be at the bottom throughout the entire game's life. There's no way. The buffs that we're seeing for Jamie, buffing his pressure, his buttons, I'm sure they're gonna fix his dive kick. His dive kick hitbox is a mess. Hopefully they look at his anti-zoning. He's getting more and more ways to consistently get more drinks. I think Jamie can definitely go up because on paper it's crazy. If you like talk about Jamie's moveset, he's got a dive kick, he's got a command grab, you know, anti-fireball breakdance, and he even does high damage once he gets to level 3 and 4, and he's got, you know, the command grab. He should be strong, but because of this unique drink mechanic, it just makes him too unstable. We've barely seen any Jamie tournament results at all, guys. This character just doesn't exist if you watch the CPT. Like at all. You've seen him once at like the LCQ, but that's it. Another thing too is that even when Jamie gets 3 and 4 drinks, I still would even consider him at the top. He still has problems, especially against zoning, I feel. But I want to get Jamie up here at least to the middle. I want Capcom to focus on getting him there, where he is kind of like this sick gamble character that can be really high up if he gets the 3-4 drinks, you know, but has problems when he has 0 or 1. But right now, I just feel like, yeah, consistency, it's a problem. Another high tier character I would put, let's put the $1 Million Queen. How is this character not talked about, guys, throughout the year? It's weird. Juri won the $1 million and no one's even talking about her. Everyone is complaining about Blanka, Luke, Chun-Li, you know, Dee Jay, JP. She's got one of the best drive rushes in the game. Fireball drive rush, she's excellent in the meta. Her uppercut is amazing. Really good horizontal range. Really good for stopping players from jumping out. Her level 2 is really strong. Can almost put you in the corner from everywhere on the screen. And it lasts forever too if you keep the pressure on. Drive rush overhead. Really good buttons. The only thing about Juri doesn't put her at the toppest of the top, even though she's so well-rounded. She has some weird problems against zoning. Like, I feel like Juri has problems against like Guile, for example. It's just because her fireball goes on the ground, so that just makes it weird, and it doesn't go full screen, obviously. She has a lot of moves, and she's got plus buttons too. Like, on paper, Juri is just really strong. I just feel like the only reason I don't put Juri at the top is just because she has some matchups against top tier characters that give her problems, unique problems. Like even Zangief gives Juri problems, but it's not enough to put her in mid. No way. This character has won the world tournament. And without her flip kick, her dive kick uniquely can deal with some situations where she gets pressure. Like especially we saw against Lashar, Uma baiting Chun-Li potential kick and other moves uniquely. But she has to take a risk with that dive kick. The preview of the season 2 patch notes, it doesn't look like Capcom is doing any big nerfs to Juri, so she will probably stay strong throughout season 2. She's in a good spot, like I said, where no one's really talking about her. No one's really concerned about her. Everyone knows that she's good. Let me bounce back to the bottom here. Another bottom character that I think is going through a huge struggle right now is Manon. I would still put her at the very bottom. I think she's a mess right now. When I'm looking at the rest of the characters, man, she's a character that, once again, everyone was playing at the beginning of the year, and everyone acknowledges her buttons. Like, they're so strong. but she's, at the end of the day, she's a grappler. She wants to land grabs, and her Oki is just terrible. I think she probably has the worst supers in the game, man. The fact that she has to choose between her level 3 and metal levels, and she doesn't even get Oki from it, is just so obnoxious. She has no reversals. She gets zoned out so bad too. You guys seen the Manon like Guile match in high level? It's hard to watch. It's really brutal for her. She truly doesn't have a good enough mix. She has to dash forward and go for a perfect parry. That's rough. Manon, when she has her 4-5 metal levels, she could be really scary. We've seen some great performances with Manon. Random did amazing with her, and we have Idom as well. There's some fantastic Manon players that are really good at using her buttons and stuff, but you can just see the struggle, man. She also has the worst drive rush in the game. Like, her drive rush is terrible. It's not even an option. She just uses it like to cancel a button or for combos. That's a huge weakness, especially in this game's meta. I think Manon is in trouble. I don't think she has a design issue like Honda and Jamie does. I think it's more that they just need to amp things up a bit because her buttons are already fantastic. They just need to like give her a little bit better Oki and fix up the consistency of her supers. We got a little sneak peek of some of the buffs that she's getting where they're making it so her level 3 scales with her metal level, which is a great change. And they're looking at some of her pressure options because a lot of players, like I said, are walking away from her on block, but she just has a hard time sticking to the opponent that I don't think the other grapplers have as much hard time as Manon does. I would definitely put her at the bottom. She's definitely a struggle character. I think this is a good opportunity to talk about Zangief. Zangief, I'm putting at low. I still think Zangief is probably bottom 5, but he is more stable than Manon just because his damage output is so high, and I think he uses the universal mechanics better than Manon does. Zangief is actually really scary in this game. He's one of those characters that, yeah, everyone knows he's low tier, but you have to play near perfect against him because if he gets in on you, my goodness, the SPD damage is just so high. 3 SPDs and you're dead in this game. And don't let Zangief players convince you that he doesn't have Oki. He does. It's not the best, I'll admit, but unlike Manon, he actually does have like a strike throw mix after his SPD. He can do drive rush light kick and stop you from jumping out and making you have to second guess yourself. So there's that. Once again, it's not amazing, but he has some serious flaws too, man. His level 1 super, just if he's in burnout, Zangief's just toast. He still can get zoned out really, really hard. He's got a lot of bad matchups. He's got some useless moves like Tundra Storm, but I think what just keeps him just a little bit more alive than the bottom, I think it's just his damage output, man. If you make some great reads with Zangief, land a good fat jump in, you can win. If you're a really good player, you can win with Zangief. His level 2 is still really good. It's got decent utility. Even though his drive rush is not Dee Jay speed, it's still Zangief with drive rush. That is still scary. It doesn't matter how slow it is. That is still something you have to respect. Between the drive rush, sweep, DI, and the jumping, I think the mental stack really works in Zangief's favor, helping Zangief players get in. His charge heavy punch also helps him overcome some things. The armor is really useful. If you guess wrong on a reversal with Zangief, he can blow you up really hard. His punish counter combos are devastating. And he's got some cool mix-ups, man. I got a lot of great Zangief players in my region, some of the best actually, including Snake Eyes. And seeing the tech throughout the year has been really cool to watch. Zangief is so entertaining. I love watching Zangief, but you can see tournament-wise is his defense. You know, you don't just have to zone out Zangief. You can go in on Zangief too, because his lariat is unstable as an anti-air because it doesn't hit on both sides. And if you drive Russian on him, he doesn't have like any reversal to deal with. He'll get his meter drained really, really hard and get mauled in the corner. Zangief's level 3 is pretty unique as well. In a game where there are a lot of things minus. I've gotten robbed so many times by Zangief just doing a raw jump in level 3, guys. It does so much damage. It's the strongest CA in the game, right, damage wise? But since there's so many things that are minus in this game, like second guessing and being worried, the presence of the level 3, yeah, man, at the end of the day, I still consider Zangief probably bottom 5 in the low end. I just don't think he's like in much serious trouble as these characters down here. There are way more Zangief players than Manon, Jamie, and Honda. I feel like Zangief gets a slight edge because the system mechanics work in his favor, where he can use parry, and there's a lot of mental stack in this game, so he gets away with more jumps than he should. And just the presence of Drive Rush gives him something that he otherwise wouldn't have. You know, we've already talked about 2 grapplers. Let's talk about the third as well. I'm gonna throw Lily up here as well. This character is also another head scratcher. She's another huge one-trick pony character where she has one of the most powerful moves in the entire game. OD Windstalk Condor Spire. It is essentially an amped up crazy version of Drive Rush. It's just a better Drive Rush move. And the fact that she's a grappler means that if you let Lily get away with this move on you, you're gonna get destroyed by this little girl. OD Condor Spire, super fast, super hard to react to, plus on block, goes through projectiles, and you can combo after it, causes a knockdown. It's just such a powerful move. Her pressure, she's not as scary as Zangief is if she's plus on you. You know, she lands a jump in or whatever, but she still has a command grab. There's still a mix there, but her light conversions are not as good. Hibiki is pretty much holding down the fort with Lily. You know, it's funny too, because we just had Kumite recently, and everyone feared Hibiki. No one likes playing against a Lily. Even though she's considered low, she's just so annoying to play against because that move is so powerful that even pro players fear her. But even in the right hand, seeing Lily at the highest level, you can just tell she's just too linear, man. She has to take risk with her Condor dive. Her Windstalk system, I think, is a mess. It's not even a Windstalk system. It's just an OD Spire system. How many OD Spires do you get? She has some okay buttons. Her buttons are all right, but her crouching medium kick is abysmal. You're just not using that thing. At least we know Capcom is buffing it. Her anti-airs are really good. Like, she does have an uppercut, and her crouching heavy punch is awesome. But at the end of the day, like, as good as her anti-airs are, her defense is still poor. She doesn't have a reversal. Once again, you'll notice that a lot of the characters I put low, like, don't have reversals. Design-wise, Lily is in a very tough spot like Honda is, where they gave Lily just such a powerful move that how do they buff everything else without nerfing that move? You know what I'm saying? Capcom is staying very tight-lipped about what they're going to be doing with Lily. Yeah, the only reason I don't put Lily at the bottom, I just think Condor Spire is so powerful that it keeps her in the low tier. If she consistently gets those Windstalks, man, Lily can be so annoying. She can maul you with that move if you make the right reads. Just obviously you got to guess right. OD Spire is more powerful than Headbutt and Butt Slam combined. It's Demon Drive Rush. What does the Windstalk do? It gives her OD Condor Spire. That's pretty much it. But I do think Capcom really needs to focus on her design and make it work, because she is a redesign from T-Hawk, and she's one of the most unpopular characters in the game right now. I see a lot of people saying that her design, a lot of people don't like it. As far as the new characters are, for Street Fighter 6, a lot of people don't like Lily. So I think Capcom needs to pay extra attention to this character. I understand she's supposed to be a simple beginner's character. She's not supposed to be too complicated, but I feel like they just tunnel vision too hard on that one move. There is potential for Lily to be stronger, but also more fun to play against and play as well if they actually nerf Condor Spire and then buff other things with her kit. And it's cool she uses weapons to make her normals more unique, make her Windstalk more unique, where it changes more things, or it makes it more worthwhile to use her other moves. And then I think Lily will be a much better design. In the story right now, Lily is slowly being consumed by the Sasui no Hado, which might be Capcom's hint that Season 2 is coming. This one's gonna be weird, but hear me out on this one. I'm gonna throw Aki in the middle. I know this is crazy. I'm putting Aki next to like Ed and Marisa. First off, don't forget, this is after her minor buffs. Aki has really high damage output, especially in the corner. She can rob you. She has one of the most meta things right now. Her Fireball Drive Rush is really strong. And another unique thing about her, she is the best anti-burnout character in the game. If you're burnout against Aki, if you're playing against a high level Aki, it might be game over. And it doesn't matter how much health you have. Just by going in burnout against Aki, you are taking a risk of throwing the entire round against her. You guys have seen it so many times. Broski has proven it. Hikaru. She has a lot of safe jump setups as well. Her drive rush is fast too. Aki is, I think she's just really good for the meta. What stops her from going higher up the list is that her fireball is just so slow. She doesn't have altering strength, so she is taking a risk doing them. She has to be in a safe part of the screen to get away with the fireball drive. But once she gets going between the forward heavy kick, and she doesn't have unique crutches like a cancelable low forward. But since they fixed her lights, she does better on defense now. And even though she doesn't have like an actual reversal, she has some option to get out of the corner. Something. Her season 2 buffs look really, really good. They're buffing her Serpent Lash whip, so it can be used better for whiff punishing. And I'm glad it seems like they're not just gonna make her like another Shoto character, giving her a cancelable low forward. I like that she is unique. We have very little characters left here. I need you guys' help for these ones. These ones are really hard for me here. There's obviously some characters that are like way at the top, but I need your guys' help to narrow this down. Let's start with Cammy, okay? Cammy is somewhere really, really high up. Japan considers her like top 3. There's some amazing Cammy players, man. Akira, we see Punk as well. They make it so far. They always make it, you know, top 4 at the very end. But there's just something about Cammy that holds her back. And that's why I'm reluctant to put her at the toppest of the top, like Japan does, you know? Like, we've seen Cammy get mauled by some characters too, like Blanka, and you can argue her damage output is just not at the level of the characters at the top echelon, but Cammy is so crazy. Between her dive kick and her spin knuckle, her corner carry is amazing. Her corner pressure is so deadly. Crouching heavy punch and throw loops, and then the dive kick is just so strong, man. Defensively, she's so good too. She has an OD uppercut that side switches, and her damage output is high in the corner. Her low forward is strong. Her buttons are amazing, and she's really good against the meta too. She can check drive rush no problem. You can fireball drive rush her half the time because she has spin knuckle. So I see what makes her so high. I see it. But I feel like her small weaknesses are just a little bit more than what these characters have, you know? The majority of the chat says she's an A. Don't get me wrong, though. I think she's in the top echelon, top 5-ish. Like, she's somewhere there. She's way up there. All right, let's do another hard one. Okay, we gotta put Guile up there, obviously. Guile as well. Man, there's some amazing Guile players, dude. There's NuckleDo and Higuchi, and you see Guile, he's so good for this game. Fireball, drive rush, and he's got one of the best reversals in the game with flash kick. His damage output is so high for a zoner, and he can absolutely maul you through just zoning alone. But Guile, you know, he never reached the top of the top because of JP. JP kept Guile in check because JP was such a popular character. But now JP has kind of fallen off a little bit. We're seeing less JP, so does that mean Guile goes up? You know what I'm saying? Between like anti-air wise, his standing meme kick and flash kick, dude, and his drive rush conversions are so strong. Like, his punish counters are so good. His level 2 can checkmate you when you're in burnout. Meter wise, he's really meter efficient. He's just fundamentally so solid in Street Fighter 6. He was definitely on all our radar since the beta test. So Guile has been a good spot throughout the entire year. Very stable character. But it's one of those things, once again, where Guile has small matchup issues against the toppest, like, popular characters, you know? Like, Blanka, I think, beats Guile. Just like JP beats Guile, and I think that kind of just holds him back a little. I don't know about how Guile does against Cammy. It seems reasonably even matchup. But Guile also can hang with, like, well-rounded characters like Shotos, you know? Like Ken. We can definitely see that Guile can hang. Drive rush overhead, dude. Guile's the kind of zoner where he's scary up close and he's scary when he's far, but he's a character like, if you run away from Guile, he will catch you. He becomes stronger when you run away from him because of slow sonic boom. Some players consider Guile top 5 as well, but I think maybe putting Guile and Cammy right here, guys, then you can kind of argue between top 5, top 6, you know what I'm saying? And then we can kind of figure it out. We'll narrow it down, but Cammy and Guile are just really hard for me to pinpoint. Like, Cammy and Guile are near perfect characters. They just have just slightly more matchup issues than these characters do. These characters have like absurd strengths that help overcome their slight weaknesses. Not as much as these characters. Like, think about the damage output of these characters at the top 4. Guile loses to Marisa as well. Yeah, he just has some weird matchups. Like, don't get me wrong, guys. We're still talking about A tier. We're still talking about top 5, top 6. These are still some of the best characters in the game. It's just someone has to be an A, right? Okay, guys, are we finally gonna do it? Are we gonna talk about Ryu? Oh man, Ryu is another really tough one. Maybe. I don't know, man. Ryu for sure, I don't think is at the bottom. He's still a well-rounded character. Ryu's biggest weakness is his drive rush is not the best. His Denjin system is counterintuitive. Right now it is. and his mid-screen conversions are really weak. But at the end of the day, he's still a character that has good zoning, strong damage output in the corner, and now with the minor buffs, his pressure is actually quite good. The light Hashogeki changes. He still has a reversal, unlike a lot of these characters, and he can still make big comebacks. And reuse buttons are pretty good. Still has a cancelable low forward. Heavy punch is one hit confirmable. His jumping buttons are great. He has a drive rush overhead. Like, he has a lot of the tools. It's just that he loses out against other well-rounded characters. You know, like Juri or Luke or Ken, obviously. Out of all the Shotos, he's definitely at the bottom. He's one of those characters that, once again, it's the player that is gonna push him, not the character. No crutches at all. No gimmicks. There's a lot of sick Ryu players, but tournament-wise, man, Ryu is just, if you're taking the $1 million seriously, you're just not gonna play this character. There are just better, well-rounded characters. All right, chat, what do you guys think? Should Ryu be in mid or low? And give me a reason why. Bottom is way too far. There is no way. No, he is not that fundamentally broken. Ryu is getting some amazing buffs, by the way. Season 2, allowing him to throw normal fireballs and normal Hashogekis while maintaining the Denjin stock is such an astronomical buff. I think it's one of the biggest buffs of the entire season 2 preview. Okay, we'll figure it out later. The day has finally come, guys. The Ken army has won. The downplay has won, guys. I was Team Luke for the whole year. No, what have I become? Ken is one of the most well-rounded characters in the game, has insane utility and some very oppressive moves. His fireball drive rush is amazing. Dragon Lash kick is super scary, adds a lot of mental stack, and he's one of the most popular characters throughout the entire year. So many amazing players play Ken, and he's won many tournaments too. Angry Bird has shown the true potential of Ken, put him at the top. And more recently, Ryukichi, the best Ken in Japan, I would say. Super aggressive style Ken. Took Ken very far. He was the closest to beating Menardi at EVO Japan. So Ken is another really tough one I don't know where to put. One thing about Ken that hurt him a little bit is the minor nerf to his standing light punch. That hurt his drive rush jab a bit. That was one thing that Ken players were getting away with. One of the best characters in Burnout too. He's so good even when he's in Burnout. Yeah, he still has the best corner carry in the game. That could be meterless, by the way. Yeah, his corner pressure is amazing. His side switch utility is amazing. He has one of the fastest drive rushes in the game. Top 3 drive rush. All right, let's figure it out, guys. Where do we put Cammy, Guile, and Ken? Thanks, guys, for helping me come to reason. The Ken army almost brainwashed me. All right, Rashid. Where are we gonna put Rashid? This is a tough one. This is level 2, the character. Probably the strongest super in the entire game. It is so godlike. And another thing too is, like, if you just don't even look at Rashid's level 2, he has some really good tools. I know a lot of people are gonna downplay his anti-airs, but his anti-airs are unique in some ways as well, hitting on both sides. And now that his OD uppercut is more stable, his drive rush is bursty, his fireball game is pretty tricky, and his pressure is really good. Good corner carry. He doesn't have like the damage output of some of these top tier characters do. But once Rashid gets that level 2, his level 2 is just so insane. It does so much damage. It lasts forever. He gains so much meter back. He uses it twice a round. It's just so, it's so insane, guys. His level 2, if it hits you at any point, whether the beginning or at the very last second, you're taking like level 3 damage and then some. And he's getting all his meter back. His corner pressure game is fantastic, especially with that meaty fireball. It's so good. Rashid also has the best overhead in the game. His overhead is absurd. It's so strong. That thing flies across the screen and he can convert and put you in the corner. So many fantastic Rashid players too. Gachi-kun, JB. I think he can hang with the top tiers. Take a look at this. Are you guys happy with this so far? You guys think it looks good? Really? Yeah, I think guys, we're not gonna be able to budge from here. It's too tough now. We're really conflicted at the point. That's good though. Like once we're hard stuck and we can no longer budge or agree on anything, I think this is a good place to stop here. Let's take a look at this overall. One thing is I'm really happy that a lot of the DLC characters like Ed, Aki, and Rashid, I have middle or a high. I'm happy about that. That's a good sign when it comes to DLC characters. You can see the characters in the low have serious flaws, especially defensively. And bottom is like fundamentally broken in some way. Once you get to the high echelon, you have characters that abuse the meta so well between drive rush and have strong defensive options and high damage output. Very stable. The higher you go, the more stable the characters become. The stronger the mechanics they can abuse. Yeah, mean, it's fine to disagree, like, oh, this character should be on the left or this character should be on the right of this character. That's fine. The important thing is that we're generally somewhere in agreement. You know, we're not going to be perfectly agree on every little thing. The general tier list, it looks like it's somewhere here for us. Feel free to disagree and explain why you disagree. You know, if you think about it, dude, for a game that had no major balance patch for over a year, way over a year if you consider the beta test, I think Street Fighter 6 is pretty damn balanced, man. It's in a good spot, seriously. Despite the millions of Lukes and JPs, taking a look at it now, not bad. But yeah, here's our baseline, man. Expect some tier lists for season 2. I can't wait to compare it and see which of these characters go up and down, because there's some characters that are definitely going up. Like, I think Ryu season 2 buffs look really good. We'll see with Kimberly as well, Lily, Manon, Jamie, Honda is getting fixed. I can't wait to read those patch notes, man. Yeah, that was fun, guys. Thanks for helping me with this tier list. We have one final character that we need to add to this list. Guys, where is he going? Should we change the tier? What do you think?